What's up, guys? It's Hungrybox here with my first ever, I guess, HD camera Hungry Talks. I think I'm just gonna do this in one take because I just really wanted to talk about an issue that sort of has been on my mind today, given the results of the LACS tournament for me in Melee. LACS, the Ludwig Championship Series. It was a I think 20K Melee tournament, and as I'm recording this right now, it's Saturday night after midnight. Well, I guess Sunday morning now, I guess. And I'm still wearing my jersey because I wanted this. I don't know. This was like a few hours, I guess, after my run ended. So I ended up losing the tournament and getting 13th place. I lost to Laud 3-1, who was if you counted the first ever Peach loss I've had in like over a decade. And I lost to Wizrobe also 3-1 in losers bracket. The Wizzy loss isn't too surprising. We've gone back and forth a lot. I think last time I played was actually like EGLX way back when, maybe in October of last year, and I 3-0'd him there, but I was in person. And then Laud, last time we played, it was Smash and Splash, I believe, last time. SNS 4, I think. Or 5, and I beat him 3-1 there. So a lot of times after a loss, you want to recoup and sort of figure out what happened. Like when I lost to IBDW most recently at GOML Online, it was Game 5, super last hit, last stock. It seemed like a match that could happen in person. We both made mistakes, both made some really good plays, but he clutched it out at the end. I did a tournament winner. But then this tournament, when I played against Laud, and I played against Wizzy, something evident came to me, and I was the whole day I was like with Crunch on Discord, right? And between sets, he would give me advice and tips and coaching, mainly on mentality. And one of the biggest things he noticed was, Juan, you're playing like at 80% when you're playing, at your max here. Where's the other 20? Like, you don't seem to be like putting your absolute everything into this like you do with IRL tournaments. And he was right. I once made a pretty loud metaphor, I assume, or loud analogy that when I am playing, I pretend it's like life or death. I pretend like there's like a gun at the back of my head and I have to win. Like that's how much dedication I put into a set of Melee when I'm at a major, when I'm at a Genesis or at, an EVO, whatever it might be, because that's how important winning is to me, and keeping that rank 1, keeping that lock on the throne. A lot of my pride and a lot of my reason to be a competitive gamer is to be the best, to be number 1. It's been sort of that way since I was like 12 years old. And I noticed that when I've lost in these tournaments, the first one was Pound Online, where I got second place, lost to Zane 6-0. I didn't sweat it that much. And I think it started a weird cycle, because when I lost to IBDW at GOML, I was sad for a bit, that then didn't sweat it that much. I don't know if it's because I was streaming or not, but I noticed that I was like, oh, maybe I'm getting better at handling losses all of a sudden. But then I realized something else, something far worse. And it's that I think no matter how hard I try, I cannot bring myself to be the same level of dedicated, to be as invested as I was when there was IRL tournaments. And while that might sound weird, I was talking over with some individuals like Crunch and me and Hacks Money had a conversation about it too. There's just something that I can't replace from the comfort of my chair at home in this stream. I don't know if it's because when I do every run that I do, both in Ultimate and in Melee, I don't know if it's because like I am an entertainer and I want to make sure you guys have a run, and that's why you guys always see what I do. I don't know if it's because like, what is it? I don't know if it's because when I'm on camera, I, need to tell myself, all right, Juan, keep a positive mentality. You can't beat yourself up that much. And sort of like when you have a live audience, a live captive audience watching you, maybe it's like you almost want to be prepared to lose in the back of your head, so your fans know you're okay, so you're happy. It's this weird like mental shift I've noticed that only has occurred when I'm doing these online tournaments. At the same time, though, there is the nuances of, rollback Melee being, as optimized as it is, still not being perfect, not with no fault to anyone, of course. It's just you can't make it perfect on an emulator. It just, I don't think any technology can do it, no matter how good you get it, compared to perfect like a CRT Melee. And like, does that affect things a lot? It could sometimes, when Wizzy does an upbeat and he fades back just slightly on his recovery, and I just go for that back air, and it just happens to miss, and it comes down in 0 to Destiny with Falcon. Yeah, there it surely matters. I'm sure if you run the same match a few times, the results flip back and forth, yada, yada, yada. So that does have an effect, but I'm starting to think now that the main reason I'm experiencing this trouble in dedicating myself as fully to Melee as I used to isn't really because of rollback per se. It isn't really because I have to stream my runs or because I want to. I think that for the first time in a very long time in this community, I finally feel like loved by a big group of people. I finally feel appreciated by a large audience, and that's the ultimate crowd, if I'm being honest. Since quarantine started, I basically have streamed a Wi-Fi tournament every single day, and yes, Ultimate Wi-Fi is much more plagued than Melee Wi-Fi, but it's not really the aspect of the game that makes it so much fun for me, but rather the grind of playing a character, which it's still a Jigglypuff, but in Ultimate, Puff is like a hero character. You have to go for these big ballsy reads and plays to win, whereas in Melee, Jesus, top tier, very safe, very effective character that I've been using to terrorize results of brackets for the past decade, not to mention getting, the consistent rank ones that I do, and to the dismay of a lot of fans. But, it's sort of those narratives and the storylines that sort of drive the popularity for a game. But here's what I've noticed. I've been doing this for a long time now. Too long. And for what I get for playing Melee, in terms of, I guess, the cash prizes or the growing of a brand, for the little that I get, I'm going to say it, for winning and putting that much effort into a Melee tournament, the amount I have to put in, but also the amount I have to deal with as a result, is simply not worth it anymore. It's simply getting to the point where the game does not bring me the happiness that it used to. The last time I felt like really happy playing Melee was I smashed some at 9. I would argue that some of the best Melee I've ever played in my life was grinding for hours and hours and hours each day against West Balls and my friend Danny and Nez and I think Lovage and all the players who were there. I was just playing nonstop to the point where my gameplay was super crispy and super clean. But I'm starting to wonder now, was that happiness in playing Melee just because I won? Had I lost to Plup in that grand finals of Summit 9, would I have considered that a happy moment? Probably not. And I'm starting to realize that the only time I might ever be actually happy playing Melee is either when I'm goofing around with secondaries with my friends, or when I'm winning, and I mean only getting first place as my placement at a national, because then I can feel satisfied. Because then, and only then, I'm playing to the expectation of my level. When you achieve the top rank in anything you do, this goes beyond video games or beyond esports or, anything. Really anything. When you're the best employee at your company or you're the best student in your class, expectations become formed. Not just of your peers on you, but of you on yourself, which is a far more potentially toxic aspect. You have to be your worst critic, but at the same time, you have to be your best motivator. It's a very strange, changing of the hats that you have to do. And not everyone can deal with it. I've done it for a very, very long time, but I've also known when I've needed help. That's why I brought Crunch as my coach to Team Liquid. And he helped me go from consistent rank 5, because I couldn't get there, to a 3-year rank 1. And now, though, for the first time, it really is time for me to ask the question, is my unperforming in Melee because I have been playing enough Melee? Yes. That's the exact answer. But it's more important to know why I felt not as motivated to play Melee in general. every time that I win with Jigglypuff and Melee, I feel like it's just going to fuel this long time, resentment and hatred towards my playstyle or my character or my personality, which, enough documentaries have been made, enough of that has been talked about, sure. But every time that I win, it only adds to it. Sure, my fans are happy, but I'm realizing now the fan group that I've built, mainly around the Ultimate and the new players, I don't think they really mind so much whether or not I get the W or the L. They're there because they enjoy my content, they enjoy being entertained, and I enjoy entertaining. Hell, I enjoy entertaining far more than I do competing. Even if it means, going 2-2 in a shitty Wi-Fi bracket, because it's exciting, because you don't know what's going to happen. Whereas in Melee, I'm not the entertainer. I'm putting on this role of sort of the villain of the bracket and the guy to beat. And if he loses, I get tons of tweets and Twitch chat messages and people saying that you're fucking washed, really rubbing it in. If it's one thing that the Melee community, not everyone, but if it's one thing the Melee community loves to do when it comes to the people who want me to lose really bad, the people who dislike me the most, they love to rub in losses. And if you are a competitor, I'm talking to any one of you guys who's a top player, Mango, Zane, IBW, Leffen, whatever you want to have it, you know how shitty it feels to have your losses rubbed in your face. You know you are imperfect. You know how much that hurts you. And it does nothing just to have someone remind you of it. And that happens every time I lose. I mean, every single time. And when I'm streaming it live, God forbid, it becomes a disaster in the chat. That's part of the cost when you're going to be a professional, player at anything competitive, any sport. Having those fandoms, sometimes rabid fandoms, go against you, is simply part of the cost. It's part of the pie. You can't really escape it, and I'm not here to complain about that. But I'm here to tell you that while that exists, meanwhile, I can just improve at a game like Ultimate or make variety content, win or lose, and have so much love, so much outpouring. The YouTube channel here that you're watching this on has grown from 18,000 subscribers to almost 200K now within the course of like a year and a half. The Twitch channel in which you watch me on, subscriber count went from 2,000 and now peaked just this week at 11,000 subscribers, which is the most mind-boggling thing I could have ever imagined. Granted, it's inflated because there's lots of gifting, a lot of support, but to reach that number, you need a large number of people who want to see you prevail. You need a large number of people who are on your side, who want you to keep playing through thick or thin. And it's just simply something I've never had in Melee. So I present to you the two sides of the coin. On one side, a game I've played for over half my life, won countless events in, won a decent amount of money in over the course of my career, but has cost me so much pain, so much grievance, so much mental strain over the course of so much time. Suffering, so much suffering it's caused me as a result of the way in which I tried to win, and as the results of me growing up through the community. And on the other side here, you have Ultimate. You have a brand new opportunity, a brand new crowd, and a brand new player, in a sense, wanting to learn a new game, wanting to be the best with that character, with a low tier character, I guess I'll call it now. I mean, middle tier at best, but I think a low tier character who people love to watch and who one day might be hopefully ranked in a brand new game. It's so much more exciting to me, and the stability from my stream has just, it's given me such a sense of placement in this community that I feel like I've never had. So I feel like I'm gonna have to make some decisions on it, some big decisions on it coming soon. But as it stands currently, as of this video, I think the plan goes as follows. I do not think I'll be entering at least any more online melee events. I don't think it's good for my mental health. I don't think it is representative of the player that I want to be in that game. I don't think it's good for my fans to see me deal with that sort of struggle in that game, with that lack of motivation, given all the expectations. And that when IRL tournaments do start back up, I will resume a more frequent training regime. The other alternative is that I could play secondaries like Genghis, Juan, Fox, or Ness. These are all options that could be the case, and I'm really just going to play it by ear. But I guess I just made this video tonight because I wanted to tell you my thoughts, tell you how I'm doing, and just to show you that, you know, no matter how good you get at something, it's still never easy. You know, no matter how professional or how godlike you might seem, it comes with even more difficulties than you might imagine in terms of maintaining that level. I think it was Einstein that said to a student, you know, don't worry about your math problems in high school. I assure you mine are far more troublesome than yours. Which means that even he was like completely frustrated sometimes at all the stuff he had to learn, all the amount of work you had to put in to stay at that level. So, you know, I don't know, call it me getting stuff off my mind or blowing off steam, but that's where I am currently. And it's weird to fall less and less in love with my absolute favorite game of all time. And maybe it'll come back when IRL tournaments come back. But as of right now, I don't know. I've been given a comfort by streaming and by content creation and by the ultimate community that I've never felt before. And I think being happiness, even if it meant making less money, would be more worth it. But right now, everything's looking up for it. So, yeah, we'll see what happens.